It's raining blood. Is he crying?
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we are looking at 10 theories about the future of Metal Gear Solid. We're seeing a massive renaissance for one of the most beloved series of all time, with remakes and remasters getting dropped with the expectation for more, as well as the creator of the series parting ways with the publishers and owners of the IP. The future is unclear. But that doesn't mean we can't wonder. Before we continue, we publish content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of our latest videos. The new Metal Gear.
And now here with me today is visionary game creator and founder of Kojima Productions, Kojima-san.
Now that Hideo Kojima has parted ways with Konami, we can't see him being part of any new Metal Gear game in the future. If Konami goes ahead with a new installment and a new story, it will all be in their hands. That doesn't mean we can't expect anything from Kojima though. Death Stranding was as far away from MGS as games get, though not without its constant references and some thematic and world-building similarities. Kojima recently tweeted about a new project, Physant, stating Physant, working title, will be the third new original IP since the establishment of Kojima Productions. It is a completely new action espionage for the next generation. It will be created using cutting-edge technology and the best talents from around the world, both from film and video games. Many expect this to be the jumping point for MGS fans to follow the feeling of Metal Gear from Konami to Kojima Productions, and although it won't technically be a Metal Gear game, we can expect it to be a spiritual successor from a man who probably misses Solid Snake. Metal Gear Solid 6. When it comes to a successful series, it's only natural that the first thing going through people's minds is, when is the next installment? Metal Gear Solid is one of the most storied franchises in gaming, but it's now held captive by Konami, a company that is sort of a shell of its former self, with the brain behind MGS, Hideo Kojima, long departed and working on other projects. This isn't to suggest that the series is dead, however, as there are many theories that Konami is working very hard behind the scenes to build the writing team in order to carry on the legacy left by Kojima. The problem behind this ambitious project is it's essentially like someone other than Tarantino making Kill Bill Volume 3, and Tarantino not approving of the project. Tough sell. That being said, many people don't even realize Kojima had nothing to do with Metal Gear Rising, and that's widely considered a success in the series. Metal Gear Rising 2. One of the directions Metal Gear could head would be by creating a second entry to the beloved Metal Gear Rising. Metal Gear Rising holds the distinction of serving as a chronological conclusion to the franchise. Despite debates about its canonicity, the narrative led by Etsu Tamari unfolds 4 years after the events of Metal Gear Solid 4. By continuing from Rising, creators eliminate the risk of disrupting the established canon, granting them unrestricted freedom to craft their desired narrative. This would allow for fanboys to not tear apart its connection to an older narrative and create new characters who can have their own rhythm that doesn't need to line up to anything previously established. When it comes to a new game in the universe with a new story, Metal Gear Rising 2 is the most likely to be a knockout. Metal Gear Solid 1 Remake.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Long before the idea of a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake even being in the works, fans have been asking for a top-to-bottom remake of the beloved MGS 1. There was an early leak suggesting a Metal Gear Solid remake was in production, which made 100% of fans incorrectly assume it was for the original game. It was a shock, albeit a good shock, when we learned that the remake coming was for MGS3, the game widely considered the best in the series. That doesn't mean, however, that we aren't still ridiculously excited for what this could mean for the series, with many theorizing that an MGS1 remake is inevitable should the MGS3 remake resonate with fans and prove profitable for Konami. Stories left to tell. In the Metal Gear canon, there is plenty of room for more stories, with some of the most infamous events in Metal Gear only being covered in dialogue. When it comes to Metal Gear Solid 6 or even a spin-off game, we have the opportunity to follow our old protagonists and fill some holes. When it comes to Big Boss, we could quite easily dive straight back into a sequel to MGS5 that fills the gaps between MGS5 and Metal Gear, meet a young Solid Snake, and witness the building of Outer Heaven. When it comes to Solid Snake, wouldn't we all love to see what happened between MGS2 and MGS4? Raiden and Snake teaming up to save Sonny? Wouldn't we all love that? Huh? Delta means change. As the Greek letter for change, many players believe that Delta is a subtle message to players that says that MGS3 Remake is setting the series up for a retelling that may change a couple of things. Change is not always a bad thing, and change can mean a lot. We know they're using the original dialogue, so they can't change much of the story flow, but by remaking the earliest canonical entry in the series, this means they could still streamline the story from the beginning to make it clearer, or even omit details and fix plot holes. The change seems inevitable, with that Delta hanging in the air like a conspiracy theorist's wet dream. And I, for one, am feeling very wet. Ew, I hate myself.
What a thrill, with darkness and silence through the night.
Metal Gear Solid 2 Remake.
Kept you waiting, huh?
There have been rumors circulating since the Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta Remake announcement that should this initial remake prove successful, that Konami will continue remaking the numbered entries, much like Resident Evil did with 2, 3, and 4. With a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake almost inevitable based on clear interest from both Konami and gamers, fans assume Konami is working hard towards an eventual MGS2 remake, creating easily one of the best games in the series into a modern masterpiece. Of course, this will be years down the line, and by that point, they may even consider finishing off the numbered entries and remaking Metal Gear Solid 4. Let's start with 3 and see what happens.
400 seconds.
400 seconds?
Raiden, move! Get to the bottom of strut A now!
The Boss spin-off.
Boss?
Putting Snake into the position of a supporting character is a risky maneuver, but look how successful MGS2 was introducing a new lead character. Many speculate that touching these beloved characters without Kojima could be a recipe for disaster, and that Konami would be better off tackling a new story as a spin-off with smaller characters who have stories worth exploring. Players have said for many years that an MGS game set during World War II following the Boss and her Cobra unit has crazy potential, and it's not the craziest idea we've heard today. This project could be easily tackled without Kojima, with new characters being introduced or old characters being fleshed out in an established universe. Even without the Boss taking the lead as a protagonist, a story following the Sorrow, for instance, could be equally enjoyable, as he is one of the only members of the Cobras without a fully explored personality, leaving room for interpretation and exploration.
It's raining blood. Is he crying?
The Master Collection Volume 2. After the release of Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, which included for modern consoles Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, as well as a handful of smaller titles and inclusions, players were intrigued by that Volume 1, which insinuates that there would be more volumes. Well, players have speculated for a very long time about finally getting a re-release of Metal Gear Solid 4, and after a recent possible leak, rumors are flying that the Master Collection 2 will finally bring MGS4 to consoles outside its PS3 exclusive. The leak suggests that the Master Collection Volume 2 will also include MGS Peace Walker and MGS5 as a bundle. Admittedly, it's not as much bang for your buck, so hopefully the price will be heavily reduced if other content isn't available. There is no future. One of the biggest theories about the future of Metal Gear is a little more miserable. With the failure of Metal Gear Survive, the first entry made without Kojima, many players believe that Konami will not create any new stories within the MGS universe and instead just focus on ports, re-releases, and remakes moving forward, possibly an online game as well. The unfortunate truth, whether or not you are a Hideo Kojima fanboy or not, is that without him and his very particular way of telling stories, telling a new story without his characters could be detrimental to the company's already wavering reputation. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos.